You have been taught your whole life to think like an employee, to trade your time for money, to wait for instructions, to avoid risk, and to play it safe. But here's the truth no one tells you. The people who control their future are not the ones who clock in and out. They are the ones who think differently. If you want freedom, wealth, and control over your life, you must stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an entrepreneur. And the shift starts in your mind. Today, thinking like an entrepreneur is not just about starting a business. It's about rewiring the way you see the world. Employees see problems and complain about them. Entrepreneurs see problems and ask, how can I solve this, and who will pay me for the solution? This simple shift from problem observer to problem solver is the foundation of entrepreneurial thinking. Every product, every company, every invention you see around you exists because someone identified a pain point and created a solution. If you can train your mind to look for opportunities instead of obstacles, you're already ahead of most people. But this shift requires a change in your relationship with risk. Most people avoid risk because they fear losing what they have. Entrepreneurs understand that risk is not the enemy and managed risk is. They learn, research, and take calculated risks that have the potential for big rewards. When you think like an entrepreneur, you stop asking, what if I fail, and start asking, what if I succeed? What would that change in my life, in my family, in my future? This is not blind optimism, it's strategic courage. Entrepreneurial thinking is also about taking ownership. When you think like an employee, you wait for someone else to give you the green light. When you think like an entrepreneur, you give yourself permission to start. You don't wait for the perfect time because you know the perfect time doesn't exist. You start with what you have, where you are, and you build as you go. You understand that momentum creates clarity. The longer you wait, the more you overthink and the less you act. Entrepreneurs move, adapt, and keep moving. And then there's resourcefulness, the ability to do more with less. Employees often think they need more money, more tools, more training before they start. Entrepreneurs know that creativity beats resources every time. History is full of businesses that started in garages, kitchens, or tiny offices with almost nothing but an idea and relentless execution. Thinking like an entrepreneur means asking yourself daily, how can I achieve this goal with the resources I already have? That question forces you to be innovative. Entrepreneurial thinking also means valuing learning over comfort. Employees want stability. Entrepreneurs want growth. This means you must be willing to constantly challenge yourself, learn new skills, and adapt to changes in the market. The world is moving fast. Technology, trends, and opportunities evolve every month. The people who think like entrepreneurs don't just react to change. They anticipate it and position themselves ahead of it. They don't fear competition because they know competition forces them to improve. But perhaps the biggest shift is in how you view failure. Employees see failure as the end, entrepreneurs see it as feedback. Failure is not a full stop, it's a comma. It's a moment to pause, learn, adjust, and move forward stronger. Every great entrepreneur you admire has failed multiple times, but they didn't let it define them. They let it refine them. If you want to think like an entrepreneur, you must see every setback as a lesson that sharpens your skills and your vision. And finally, thinking like an entrepreneur means thinking long-term. Employees often live paycheck to paycheck, focused on the next payday. Entrepreneurs focus on building something that pays them for years to come, assets, systems, and opportunities that create freedom. They are not looking for quick wins, they are building lasting impact. This is why the entrepreneurial mindset is the most valuable shift you can make. Once your mind changes, your life follows. So, ask yourself right now, will you continue to think like an employee, trading your time for someone else's dream? Or will you shift your mindset, see the opportunities in front of you, take calculated risks, and build something that gives you the freedom you deserve? The choice is yours, and it starts in your mind. An entrepreneur's mind works like a radar that is always scanning the environment for patterns, unmet needs, and hidden potential. They train themselves to notice things most people overlook: inefficiencies, gaps in the market, problems that nobody has dared to solve yet. Where the average person sees just the way things are, the entrepreneur sees a system that could be improved. This awareness doesn't happen by accident. It's built through curiosity and constant questioning. Instead of accepting situations at face value, they ask, why is it done this way? Could it be done better, faster, cheaper, or more effectively? Every time you start asking those questions, you are taking another step into entrepreneurial thinking. Another crucial layer is adaptability. Markets shift, technology evolves, consumer behavior changes. Entrepreneurs know that what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow, and instead of clinging to the past, they embrace the unknown. This is why they are constantly learning, reading, networking, testing new ideas, and keeping their skills sharp. They treat knowledge as a form of currency because in the entrepreneurial world, being uninformed is expensive. The moment you stop learning, you start falling behind. Thinking like an entrepreneur also means developing emotional resilience. In business and in life, there will be setbacks, failed launches, bad investments, economic downturns, criticism from people who don't understand your vision. The average person might see these as reasons to quit, but entrepreneurs see them as data. Every failure carries information about what doesn't work, and every challenge builds the mental toughness needed for bigger successes. They understand that emotions must be managed because decision-making driven by fear or panic almost always leads to poor outcomes. And then there's the importance of building networks. Entrepreneurs rarely operate alone. They seek out mentors, partners, and people with complementary skills. They understand that collaboration can multiply results far faster than solo effort. While an employee might see other people as competition for promotions, entrepreneurs see people as potential allies in value creation. This is why they invest time in relationships, because in the long run, the right connection can open a door that skill alone cannot. Perhaps the most overlooked aspect of entrepreneurial thinking is the obsession with value creation. Entrepreneurs wake up asking themselves, how can I create something today that makes someone else's life better? They know that money follows value. If you solve a meaningful problem for enough people, wealth becomes a byproduct. This is the opposite of the employee mindset, which is focused primarily on earning a paycheck for time spent. The entrepreneur is focused on creating results, and they are rewarded accordingly. Finally, an entrepreneurial mindset is about ownership of your future. No excuses, no waiting for permission, no blaming circumstances. If something isn't working, you change it. If you don't know something, you learn it. If you lack resources, you find a creative way to make it happen anyway. This mindset frees you from the limits society tries to place on you because you realize that your potential is not determined by where you start, but by how you think, act, and adapt over time. The truth is, once you begin to think like an entrepreneur, you will never see the world the same way again. You will notice opportunities everywhere. You will stop fearing change and start chasing it. And you will understand that the greatest investment you can ever make is in your own ability to create, adapt, and deliver value to others. That is the mindset shift that changes everything.